Hello guys, welcome back to your channel UPSC Decoded. I am your very own Shailendra sir and today we are going to move on to the next chapter, that is chapter number 2. बहुत ही important topic करने वाले हैं guys आज, because हड़प्पन civilization बहुत ही important टॉपिक है यूपीएससी पर्सपेक्टिव से. सो यूपीएससी ने कई बार क्वेश्चंस पूछे हुए हैं प्रीलिम्स में, मेंस में, और एज सच आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए. नाउ आई एम श्योर दैट वी हैव ऑलरेडी गॉन थ्रू द फर्स्ट वीडियो, and in case you haven't, please do go through it as well. So let's discuss the various facets of the Harappan civilization. In the part 1 that we are going to do today, we will be talking about the geographical extent of the Harappan civilization. हम देखेंगे कि किस तरीके का environment था, किस तरीके की geography थी, and we will also be talking about a very important topic under Harappan civilization, which is town planning. Town planning को समझेंगे किस तरीके से टाउन प्लानिंग था, एडवांस लेवल की सिविलाइजेशन थी. ऑलराइट, सो लेट्स मूव ऑन. दोज ऑफ यू आर जॉइनिंग मी फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, गाइस, दिस इज अबाउट मी. I am an MBA from Symbiosis Pune. I have written multiple UPSC mains, and these are some of the organizations where I have mentored and tutored thousands of aspirants like you. Also guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I hope you have subscribed to the channel already, and in case you haven't, please do that, because आपको नोटिफिकेशन मिलते रहेंगे हर एक सेशन का जो मैं डेली बेसिस पे करने वाला हूं, ताकि आपका एक भी चैप्टर मिस नहीं हो. Also make sure you like the session, and also do tell me in the comment if you have any questions, suggestion, etc., and I will ensure 100% that I personally respond to you. And now guys, we are also available on Instagram. The link is given in the description. Please do connect with us for important tips related to UPSC exam and also any important update. So do join us over there. Now before beginning with the chapter, I have a question for you, and the question is from yesterday's class. So I want to check what sort of attention you paid in the class. आपने कितना ध्यान से पढ़ाई की कल? So this is the question in front of you. Consider the following statements. Sohan industries associated with the Narmada region. Tools made of bones were used in Kashmir Valley. ये दोनों पॉइंट्स हमने कल की क्लास में डिस्कस किए थे. Which of the above statements is correct? One only, two only, both are true, both are false. What do you think is the answer? Please tell me in the comment and let me check where you stand on this. Okay, so let's move on to the agenda of the day, guys, which is man takes to the city life. Urbanization, advancements of civilization. This is something which is happening now in this particular phase. कल की क्लास में हमने बात किया था कि किस तरीके से स्टोन एज मैन हंटिंग एंड गैदरिंग प्रोसेस से मूव करके बेसिकली वो सेटल्ड हो गया था. सो अर्लियर ही वाज हंटर एंड गैदरर, मूव ऑन करके सेटल्ड हो गया. विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम इट टुक लाइक थाउजेंड्स एंड थाउजेंड्स ऑफ ईयर्स. सो he had settled down during the Neolithic phase and he had started practicing agriculture. खेती करना शुरू कर दिया था, सेटल होना शुरू कर दिया था, और छोटे छोटे गांव बसाने शुरू कर दिए थे. अगर आपको याद हो, कल की क्लास में मैंने आपको एक पिक्चर भी शेयर की थी जहाँ पे छोटी छोटी झोपड़ी बनी हुई थी, एक कमरे की झोपड़ी, and there was this cluster of small huts around which the people were there. So settled civilization had begun. But it was not an urban civilization, it was not an advanced civilization. Now this is the difference between that phase so far and in this phase wherein man is going up the civilization levels, and now he is in a stage wherein there is urbanization and man is living a more comfortable life. He is getting diversified in terms of occupations, in terms of culture, and this is the beauty of this important topic, a very very important topic, as I said, from the UPSC perspective. Now let's talk about the location and extent first. सबसे पहले कोई भी टॉपिक हो तो ये देखना चाहिए उसका लोकेशन क्या था, उसका एक्सटेंट क्या था. ज्योग्राफी समझनी ज़रूरी है, बिकॉज ज्योग्राफी इन अ ग्रेट वे इन्फ्लुएंसेस हिस्ट्री. सो द ज्योग्राफी ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर सिविलाइजेशन, इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन या हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन, कुछ भी बोल सकते हो, बिकॉज हड़प्पा इज वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट सिटीज. दैट इज वाई इट इज कॉल्ड हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन. एंड वी ऑल्सो हैव इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन एज द नेम, बिकॉज ये जो इंडस वैली फ्लो करती है इस एरिया से, विच इज इन पाकिस्तान नाउ, सिंधु नदी जिसको बोलते हैं, दैट फ्लोज थ्रू पाकिस्तान नाउ, बट देन ऑफकोर्स इंडिया. until the partition of the country. So around this valley, this civilization cropped up, and that is why it is named Indus Valley Civilization. So geographical extent देखते हैं. I will just enlarge for you. So I hope you can see it. So from Manda in Jammu, Manda is in Jammu, and this place Sukta Jindor in Balochistan, the extremity over here, Lothal, and further there's a place called Daimabad in northern part of Maharashtra, that is the southernmost part, and here it is Alamgirpur in Meerut district. So this is the sort of geographical extent. So a very, very large civilization. In fact, in terms of geographical extent, it happens to be the largest. इससे बड़ी कोई भी civilization नहीं थी उस टाइम पे. प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस. उस टाइम पे सिर्फ इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन ही नहीं थी. सो डोंट गेट अंडर द इंप्रेशन कि इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन बहुत ग्रेट सिविलाइजेशन थी. येस, इट वाज ग्रेट, but that does not mean that there were just one civilization. There were a couple of civilization, and where exactly were they? इसके लिए मैं आपको मैप भी दिखा देता हूं कि कहां कहां पे वो सिविलाइजेशन लोकेटेड हैं, ताकि आपको एक ओवरऑल अंडरस्टैंडिंग मिलेगी उस कंटेम्प्रेरी टाइम की, उस जमाने की, ताकि अलग अलग सिविलाइजेशंस भी वहां पे एग्जिस्ट किया करती थी. एंड इट वाज नॉट द ओनली सिविलाइजेशन, बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ ज्योग्राफी आप देखो ना कि कितना ज्यादा बड़ा सिविलाइजेशन है. यू सी अ बिग पार्ट ओवर हियर, द होल ऑफ पाकिस्तान, अ गुड पार्ट ऑफ नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया, एंड the northern part of Afghanistan also. And then there is this another civilization which is called Tigris Euphrates Valley Mesopotamian civilization, Sumer जिसको बोला जाता है, SUMER, Sumer. Then in Egypt we have the civilization of the pharaohs. Pharaohs आपने देखे होंगे, mummies देखी होंगी Discovery Channel में, like ancient mummies. The way they have been preserved is outstanding, amazing, and the structures they made, the people of Mesopotamia, that is also just amazing. And then in China we have Huanghe Valley over here. So these are some of the ancient civilizations which were contemporaneous to the Harappan civilization. Contemporaneous मतलब उस टाइम पे ये भी civilization exist किया करती थी. Alright? So now you have understood the overall setting, right? So there were a couple of these ancient civilizations that existed during this time. And as for the Harappan civilization, basically the maturity phase started from roughly about, let's say, 2500 BC, and it lasted about 1700 BC. कुछ बुक्स में आपको अलग अलग डेट्स मिलेंगी. आपको 1750 की जगह 1900 BC दिया रहेगा, किसी बुक में 2500 की जगह 2600 होगा. सो यू डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट द प्रिसाइज डेट, बिकॉज प्रिसाइजली एक पर्टिकुलर ईयर में कुछ नहीं होता है. वी आर नॉट दैट श्योर अबाउट हिस्ट्री, एंड इस तरीके की चीज़ें टाइम लेती हैं ट्रांजिशन करने में एक फेज से दूसरे फेज में. सो नथिंग हैपन्स इन अ पर्टिकुलर ईयर, एंड दैट इज वाई बहुत ज़्यादा आपको ऑब्सेस्ड होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, फोकस करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है डेट्स में. और वैसे भी कई सारे स्टूडेंट्स तो डेट से परेशान भी रहते हैं. हिस्ट्री मतलब डेट्स एंड फैक्ट्स, right? So you should have a rough idea about it. So this is the maturity phase. This is the mature Harappan phase. This is the mature Harappan phase जहाँ पे urbanization हुई, जहाँ पे urbanization हुई, because इससे पहले भी there was this early Harappan phase and later Harappan phase also after the mature Harappan phase. But in both the phases, early and late Harappan phase, there was no urbanization. It was basically an agrarian sort of civilization. So cities कौन से phase में आई आपको याद रहेगा? That is the mature Harappan phase. Alright, is it clear to you? Any confusion so far? आप मेरे को बता सकते हैं comments में बिना झिझक के. And as I said, it is my responsibility to ensure that you are answered. Now let's move on to the next important thing, guys. आप लोगों ने सेटिंग देख ली, अब थोड़ा सा ये समझते हैं कि उस टाइम पे वहाँ पे किस तरीके का एनवायरनमेंट था. So you can see that at that time the northern and western parts of India were covered with forests. इस इलाके में जनरली जहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं आज की डेट में रेनफॉल लेस दैन 50 सेंटीमीटर्स होती है, which includes पंजाब हरियाणा रीजन ऑफ इंडिया, which includes northwest part of India, Rajasthan, and parts of Gujarat where this civilization was located. And in पाकिस्तानी पंजाब ऑल्सो, इनफैक्ट जो पंजाब पाकिस्तान में है वहां तो और भी कम बारिश होती है एज यू मूव फ्रॉम ईस्ट टू वेस्ट। आप लोगों ने शायद ज्योग्राफी में पढ़ा भी होगा, तो रेनफॉल भी कम होते जाती है। दीज एरियाज आर बेसिकली आइदर एरिड, these areas are basically either arid or semi arid, either arid or semi arid, या तो कम बारिश होती है या तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं होती, ड्राई डेजर्ट टाइप में है, राइट। बट उस टाइम पे ऐसा नहीं था, उस टाइम पे ज्यादा लश ग्रीन था, ज्यादा यहाँ पे हरियाली थी। यू कैन सी दैट दिस इज एन आर्टिस्ट रेंडिशन बेसिकली, नॉट एग्जैक्टली द पिक्चर फ्रॉम हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन। सो इट्स एन आर्टिस्ट रेंडिशन की इस तरीके के ये रिवर्स के अराउंड लोकेटेड थी जो सिविलाइजेशन था। दो इंपॉर्टेंट इसमें सिटीज हुआ करते थे गाइस, द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सिटीज बीइंग हड़प्पा एंड मोहनजोदाड़ो। Alright, so Mohenjo-daro in Sindh and Harappa in Punjab of Pakistan. Both of them, they are in Pakistan now, by the way. So around the Indus River, you can see that the cities came up, and the artist has also shown that the agriculture is being done around the rivers, and the area is also having much more greenery as compared to today. Because आज की डेट में अगर जाएंगे तो कंटीले पेड़ मिलेंगे उस इलाके में, and you will get shrubs and all these thorny bushes etc. But in those days it had much more precipitation. Now you would be thinking थे उससे क्या हुआ? उससे ये हुआ गाइस, ज़्यादा बारिश होगी तो आपको इरिगेशन की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। सॉइल फर्टाइल है बट बारिश नहीं हो रही, सो इट्स अ बिग प्रॉब्लम। सो कैसे कोई क्रॉप उगेगा, राइट? सो क्रॉप उगने के लिए आपको बारिश भी ज़रूरी है। उस टाइम पे ज़्यादा बारिश हुआ करती थी, एंड एज सच it had not only a very good abundant sort of agriculture, but also a lot of these wild animals were found over there which are not found today unfortunately. Tiger, elephant, rhinoceros, hippopotamus. So आप देख सकते हैं ये सारे के सारे एनिमल्स जो आज उस पार्ट में नहीं मिलते कंट्री के और सब कॉन्टिनेंट के, वो मिला करते थे, वो पाए जाते थे। इनफैक्ट गाइज, अगर आप बाबर की जो ऑटोबायोग्राफी है बाबर नामा अगर आपने पढ़ा हो तो बाबर ने भी मेंशन किया हुआ है कि अलोंग द इंडस रिवर आई हैव सीन राइनोसरस वाटरिंग देमसेल्व्स। सो दैट इज लाइक as recent as 1526 when the first battle of Panipat took place, Babur came into India. So it is something which is a more recent phenomenon, the existence of these animals, but the desertification process was already complete by the time Babur invaded India. In fact उससे पहले ही वो desert बन चुका था। Now, one of the important factors that led to the rise of this mature Harappan phase, the rise of urbanization, cities, etc., is that there was this lot of bumper harvest that they used to have. जब तक agriculture surplus food grains नहीं देगा, तब तक cities नहीं आ सकती, because most of the people would be struggling for their 2 square meals a day. सबको ये चैलेंज होगा कि नेक्स्ट टाइम का खाना कहाँ से आएगा, और उसके लिए ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा वो मेहनत करेंगे, खेती करेंगे अगर सरप्लस एग्रीकल्चर नहीं है, अगर बहुत सब्सिस्टेंस बेसिक टाइप का एग्रीकल्चर है, इजंट इट? So they would be themselves agriculturalists. But when there is surplus food grain, then some of the people, they can afford to be non-agriculturalists, they can take to trade and commerce, and that leads to rise of higher forms of civilization, that is rise of cities and towns. And I hope you understand now the difference that environment or geography creates in giving the rise of urbanization, in giving the rise of civilization. And by the way, एक और चीज अगर आप लोगों ने नोटिस की होगी कि जितने भी ये civilizations हैं, they have come up along the rivers and in river valleys. That means geography has a very important role to play in the shaping up of history. Now let's come to another very important part for which this civilization is known, that is the cities and buildings. The cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. So basically दो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक सिटी हैं यहाँ पे। जब भी हम हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन या IVC की बात करते हैं, इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन की, हम दो सिटीज़ की स्पेशली बात करते हैं जब टाउन प्लानिंग की बात करते हैं, बिकॉज दे हैड सिमिलर प्लान्स, एंड ऑल्सो दीज टू आर द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट सिटीज़ फ्रॉम द इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन। that is Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Alright, so this is the plan like guys. They were divided into two parts. दो part में divided थे. The upper part was built on the raised ground that has been described as the citadel. Citadel मतलब एक upraised platform है इस तरीके का, और ये lower town है. So one is the citadel, which is the raised platform on which there is the upper part that is located in the western side of the city. So this is the typical plan. So this is like using graphics and all. So western part is this, that is the citadel, which is the raised platform. इसके ऊपर important buildings हैं. For example, let's say important buildings like the houses of rich people, elite people, अंबानी टाइप के लोग यहाँ रहा करते थे. इसके बाद administrative buildings भी बहुत important है. For example, let's say the government of India, parliament, or maybe South Block. I'm just giving you examples. Those time pe obviously there was no parliament, there was no South Block. Whoever the people were who controlled the Harappan civilization, who were the rulers, they lived over there. Plus some important structures, they were also there on this citadel. For example, in Mohenjo-daro we have this very famous structure called Great Bath, which has this religious significance. अब वो क्या religious significance है वो मैं कल के part में बताऊंगा, that we are going to discuss under religion. But it is a very important structure that we have a big structure which is almost intact. So this is Great Bath in Mohenjo-daro. मोहनजोदारो किधर है? सिंध में. सिंध किधर है? पाकिस्तान में. That you should remember. And the second part of the city was the lower town, which is where the आम आदमी lived, mango people. Lower town, जो common जनता है वो यहाँ पे रहा करती थी. And this is the area where most of the people lived. In fact, you can see by this plan that we have most of the people who are having their houses over here, who have streets, markets वगैरह. And the city is planned in a iron grid pattern or a square grid pattern. So ये जो pattern होता है wherein the streets are cutting each other at right angles 90 degrees. आप लोग क्या चंडीगढ़ गए हो क्या? I'm sure that some of you would be from Chandigarh itself. So जिस तरीके का जो प्लानिंग है ली कॉर्बूसियर ने चंडीगढ़ में किया हुआ है, उसी तरीके की प्लानिंग लगभग यहाँ पे हुआ करती थी, which is known as iron grid pattern or square grid plan. Square grid plan. Alright, जहाँ पे जितनी भी लेन्स हैं, रोड्स हैं, वो एक दूसरे को 90 डिग्रीज में इंटरसेक्ट किया करती थी. एंड another very important characteristic over here was the use of burnt bricks. This is like one of the most important features, burnt bricks. Because बाकी जगह civilizations में वो dry bricks use किया करते थे. They were not using burnt bricks. Harappan civilization was the only civilization amongst all these civilizations where the people used a higher sort of technology, that is the burnt bricks. उनको burn करके ताकि bricks को sun dry कर दिया, उसके बाद burn किया ताकि it is harder and more durable. Alright, and then we have certain other characteristics of town planning, but वो हम आगे higher standard NCERT में समझेंगे, because you need to understand the basics of it, and I'm sure that you have now understood the basics of town planning of this great civilization, and now you are in a position wherein you can appreciate the level of advancement of this civilization, a great one. Alright, so these are some of the topics that we are going to cover in the next part, that is tomorrow. We will be doing the second part, part 2, wherein we are going to talk about the food that they ate, what were the crops they grew, clothing, occupations, trade and commerce, बहुत important part है, how they traded with far off countries like Mesopotamia, religion and fall of Harappan civilization. So these important topics we are going to discuss tomorrow, along with the significance of these images that we have over here. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching this lecture, and also don't forget to subscribe, as I said, if you haven't so far. And also do like the session if you liked it, and do let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions. So see you then. Till then, take care. Bye bye.